I'm an artist. My name is Kevin Absaba. I came from Papua New Guinea, and now I'm at the Gallery of Modern Art in Queensland, Brisbane.
The Asia Pacific Triennial, or the APT, is the biggest exhibition that the Queensland Art Gallery, Gallery of Modern Art, holds. It's actually our 20th anniversary this year. It's a very exciting and vibrant exhibition, and I think people are just so curious to see what's happening around our neighbourhood.
We're the only institution in the whole world that looks at the art of Asia and Pacific together, and we look at the world from that place, and I think that makes us unique as a gallery, and also for that particular event, the Asia Pacific Triennial.
One of the great achievements, I think, of the exhibition is that it's broken down all of those kind of assumptions that the art being made today is too clever, is too inaccessible, when in fact it's the opposite. What's fabulous for us is that people wait for it, they want it, and they walk through the door in thousands.
I'm part of the curatorial team. We have a group of curators at the gallery who work on the exhibition and work on it for a couple of years in advance. So we travel throughout the region, and that's always very exciting and interesting because we meet a whole range of people, learn about the new things that are happening, and then we can bring that knowledge back and really develop an exhibition that's very exciting for our visitors. One of the most exciting commissions that we've done with this APT is to work with a group of 10 artists from the Sepik region of Papua New Guinea. A couple of our curators went to that part of New Guinea. It's quite inaccessible in some ways, and they just had such an extraordinary experience, like meeting people, travelling up the Sepik on a boat, and really getting a sense of what art means in those communities there.
We're in the workshop in South Brisbane for a project that the Queensland Art Gallery is conducting for the 7th Asia Pacific Triennial of Contemporary Art. And it's a project that we're working with a group of 10 artists from the Sepik River in Papua New Guinea. It's a very ambitious project for us. It involves bringing the artists from Papua New Guinea from the Sepik for a period of up to 2 months. And it's something that we haven't done at all. We've had artists for very short periods of time, but not for that period of time. So it's really exciting to have them here working on site.
My name is Waikanera. I'm from the Apagai village 2 and 3.
And
And I'm from Abalam, so I'm doing my work, the works of my culture, from home.
Long working culture, Blomilo place. This man only give me a green light to do everything. This spirit that I call putti.
Putti, P-U-T-I?
Yep.
We're talking mostly about the meanings behind the different designs that they're painting or carving on the wood, and they're closely linked to their particular clans and their cultural beliefs. They're all very connected to the environment, which I find a really fascinating thing about the project. You realise how the interrelationship between people and the environment is really, really important.
The spirit from the trees and to the ground. Okay.
And their names are?
So those two names are in my language, Amlam, I call Matbe. So they can put it you around and you will fall and you will stay in the bush.
They keep you in the bush, do they? They trap you in there?
Yeah, they will keep you in the bush.
I work as the Senior Exhibition Designer for the Queensland Art Gallery. So my job is working with the curators and assisting them to take their ideas for exhibitions and make them real in the spaces, so designing the fit out for the spaces. And then with this project, because there's quite an architectural element to the project, I've been working with the curator, Ruth McDougall, and got to travel to PNG and meet the artists and talk about their practice, see how they work in their own communities, and then how we could potentially bring that back to the gallery.
I feel happy that I can show my culture here in Brisbane so that they can realise and understand the relationship between Brisbane and Australia and Tongwinjan, representing East Sepik Province and my country. We left our family at home, but we have to think about our artwork in the country and how it can develop. We have to work so that our children can follow in our footsteps to continue our artwork and to grow and represent those artworks in other countries.
Yeah, seeing the work, in the villages and places we visited, I was struck, I guess, straight away by the sheer scale of it and the how impressive it was as these architectural forms, these big men's spirit houses. And I thought that kind of scale could immediately translate into some of the huge spaces we've got available in GOMA in particular. And I think too, just the sort of the vibrancy of the painting and the carving, I thought would immediately connect with an audience. For us, the deadline, our deadlines are kind of rolling deadlines that happen, months out from the exhibition. So there's lots of things that we're prefabricating and making, in readiness, and we're working to deadlines like the timeframes that we have available to us with the artists here now. So we've only really got a couple of weeks left with them. So there's one deadline straight away that we really need to focus on. And then in the probably sort of 6 to 8 weeks out from the exhibition opening, things will really ramp up on site. Our exhibitions, the previous exhibitions close, and then suddenly the pressure's on.
Hey, thanks for coming over. So we've got a few things to talk through today. I guess starting in the other building, we had a good meeting yesterday with Fintan McGee, the graffiti artist that's going to be painting these walls. So he's been really responsive to the brief. I think he can work with the budget pretty well, and the time frame doesn't look like it's going to be a problem for him.
So I think it'll occupy the space really well. We're going to move Chevdet's table out and just provide a bit more dynamism.
I actually think it's better.
It's better.
It's much better.
So it's really crunch time at the moment. There's 2 months out from the opening, so it's a very exciting and intense time for everybody. We always design the exhibition using a scale model, which helps us place the works around the gallery spaces, and we're just fine-tuning that at the moment as well. So exhibitions are quite complex in that you're bringing together such diverse artworks from all over the region, and it really helps us visualise what people are going to see when they come into the gallery space.
The other one that we're sort of pushing on with now is Richard Malloy. So, we had that first round teleconference.
You don't need any prior knowledge to come in and enjoy a show like the APT. It's really about coming in with your children, seeing incredible, huge works. Richard Malloy's sculpture called Big Yellow, which is a huge 30-metre sculpture, 6 metres high, and it's made completely out of cardboard. So when you look at it, it's going to look like something glistening from afar, and then when you come up close, you'll be very surprised that it's made out of these materials that people would usually throw away. So I think it'll appeal to kids as well in terms of it's an enormous, gigantic cubby house.
At the moment, we're starting to install a giant snake sculpture by Chinese artist Huang Yongping. He's a Parisian-based Chinese artist, and so we've been doing a lot of planning with him, phone conferencing, working out how this snake's going to fit in the space. It's about 53 metres long, and it's going to spiral out from the ceiling, and the head of the snake's going to come to rest on the water just down here. It's a funny kind of feeling now because we're not really at a point where we're installing much art. Everything's construction. So when you look around, there's all the spaces are kind of in disarray. You know, there's building work happening everywhere. It's a bit of a mess. Unfortunately, there's not a lot for the public to see right now. Very soon, over the next few weeks, you'll see art for the APT appearing in public spaces, and then, you know, behind closed doors, we'll be working frantically to pull it all together for the opening.
Leading up to an exhibition, it is pretty frantic, but it's an adrenaline frantic, so it's a sense of excitement, and things need to happen quickly now. So before we've got time to deliberate, would that be good? What do you think? And kind of really engage with ideas. And when it comes very close, we start to really have to make those very key decisions. I'd be tempted to put the big one in the middle and then to try and arrange things around them. We were looking at the work of Filipe Tohi, who's a Tongan artist, but he lives in New Zealand. And that was actually the first time that I've seen the work, so it's really, really exciting. We need to think about what's going behind them and in front of them and the relationships that we can create with them. So it's really looking at that. And also you would have noticed a lot of discussion about the safety of the objects, because we have such huge numbers, so we really need to ensure that we've got enough distance so that people aren't encouraged to touch them, because they're always so tactile. They look amazing, so people do want to touch them. So we've just got to really make sure that we care for the work. So that's always our initial conversations.
When we saw it, when we first got the actual artwork here, we started unloading it, and we could see that the design of it and the engineering was up to pretty much what we expected. So they've done a pretty good job in China. It's a big job, and we've got a lot of people, you know, back up from the gallery to make sure we've got enough staff on site. And we know sort of the basic idea of it. We've been working on it on Saturday, so we know now what to expect for the rest of it, and the dimensions we've been given are fairly close, so it's working pretty well.
One of the great opportunities that the Triennial offers is to be able to access artists who, especially now 20 years on, who might be very hard to get otherwise. And Hyung Ping is one of those artists. So he's part of a senior generation of Chinese artists, and he's an artist that hasn't been seen in Australia. And we all felt it was really important to include somebody like that, and he was very keen to work with us.
Paramodel are an artist duo from Osaka in Japan. It's a really industrial city, so their work is really influenced by their environment, this kind of very industrial kind of environment. Their work sort of references things like high-speed trains and factory materials, so they make these incredibly intense but very beautiful environments.
Okay.
なんかちょっと別の場所に置けないですかね。
So he was thinking if it's going to kind of create problems. The fascinating thing about it is that most of the time they deal with everyday objects, and one of the most appealing ones is children's toys. Railway tracks, blue railway tracks, which will be decking out the space completely. One of the big differences that we've encountered here is these fantastic little sushi and toy car pieces that they brought here, and they'd intended just to sort of lay them out on the table. And I guess it's one of those problems in that in Japan, the audiences don't really go for the work, don't really sort of touch it and pick it up. It's not something they're really used to. And that meeting was just to discuss how we might display the works and how we might secure them so that we can put the works out in a way that they won't get damaged or picked up or possibly even stolen.
Well, we're pretty close, so it is a little bit stressful at the moment because we're just trying to get everything happening now, so it's really those final decisions must be made.
We're probably doing, I don't know, 1,000 boxes, maybe more. So yeah, it's head down and paint. So for Richard Malloy, and he's a conceptual artist, so I'm part of the workshop, and we're just basically getting it ready to work with him. It's such a massive project that probably have 4 or 5 people working on it. Our designers meet with the artist, and then they come up with a design, and then they pass it on to us, and they say, you know, this is what we're trying to achieve. We'll just sort of pick up the ball and run with it, and then the artist will come along and work with us sometimes. This particular one, you know, we've been on it a couple of weeks now, and we'll be on it a couple of weeks more.
You know, we've talked about the process as much as we can with the artist, and now it's just, you know, taking that leap of faith and getting in and seeing what comes of it. So, you know, we've got all of the gear we need on site. We've got our boom lift and scaffold standing by, and I think we really just need to start working our way through it and see how it all comes together.
So we've got several artists coming in today. We've got Mixed Rice, who's a couple from Seoul in Korea. And then later on we've got Mohammed Qasim Ashfaq, who's a Scottish artist but with a Pakistani background who works with Islamic patterns. And actually both artists work directly onto the wall. So we're going to introduce them to the spaces, show them the walls they're working on, and just talk about their process and the materials that they use. It's very, you know, you can see a plan on a piece of paper, but actually being in the space is very different.
I think that's really important, you know, like, and it's not about them being, I don't know, it's not about it being the lack of colour. I suppose it's like, it's how much colour we bring to the position, you know, like, and I think that's, I really like when art does that, you know, that like the person makes it rather than just like me making it, you know. It's like
both artists were really excited. I mean, Mohammed is a very enthusiastic artist and is really delighted with the space that he's got. I mean, we're really at the sort of pointy end of the installation now. I mean, a lot of the works are up already. We're preparing a lot of other spaces for some really big works to come in.
At the beginning, I was given another space, but the things changed a lot. It was about months of communicating with the staff of the exhibition, which was really helpful for me to get familiar with the concept.
So it's that line there?
Yes,
okay.
that one.
And this one here?
This one,
it's not quite as bad as that sign, is it?
I had seen photographs and plans of the space. The floor is done specially for this work. Everything was finished by the day that I arrived perfectly. So I just entered this empty, white, bright space. And since then, I started to work. At the first steps, it was somehow frightening, but now I have also a vision of what it is going to happen in the space. So this fear, I don't have it anymore.
The first step is to come up with a rough image on the computer. But the plan I'm working on at the moment hasn't just been drawn up by me. Outlines of small shapes were originally drawn by children using toy train tracks from Japan called Playrail. And these have been included in the plan.
We're in the long gallery of the Gallery of Modern Art, which will be filled with works from Papua New Guinea. So in 3 weeks, this will be completely filled with masks, quite amazing, spectacular performance objects, as well as the enormous spirit house from the QAGOMA artists from the Sepik River and PNG. The Malloy structure, Richard arrives tonight, so we've done a lot of prep work for that with the painting of the cardboard and obviously the building of the structure, and then he will come in and supervise how that's now clad. So it's looking pretty exciting from the river. I don't know if you've seen from the bridge, but I think he'll be happy. Richard will always have tweaks, and that's what he does. But I think that to see it so substantially made already, I think will be good. Everyone's really pleased to have the artists starting to arrive, and it's really great to be in that position where that cocoon of ideas is breaking open and it's becoming real.
Well, we painted the cardboard and now we're putting it on. The artist has a particular way, he works. So we're trying to emulate and just, copy his style and work with him. He builds in contours. So we're trying to, build a large contour, and it takes 2 or 3 people sometimes to bend a big piece of cardboard and get it into the contour, and then we staple it, or glue it, or tape it, or all of the above. But he's not here till tomorrow, so it's a matter of hopefully he'll be happy when he gets here.
One of the curators that approached me and asked if I would be interested in doing a project here, and the negotiations started from that, and that was about 2 years ago. So it's been a really long process. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous about what was installed, because it had been a year since I did the site visit, and we had been having a lot of dialogue with drawings and designing things, and the potentiality of what could be made in the space. So there was a lot of tanking and Skyping and all of that kind of creative process in the lead up. And it's hard to gauge what's actually going to be thrown your way when you arrive.
Yeah, Richard turned up and walked around it, and I think exclaimed that it was a bit bigger than what he imagined. And we'd sort of done it to a point, and then he immediately just took over and started saying what he wanted and how he works with cardboard, and yeah, it was great.
Do you want to make this part through here where you can just kind of create some cardboard, and so it's like a little viewing platform?
Yeah, it's cool.
So a lot of these people are trained to build things in a perfect way, and I guess what I'm doing is kind of retraining in a way and trying to get them to follow what the materials tell them rather than what they're controlling and telling the materials to do.
Oh, I love it. I think it's the colour as well. It's so yellow is like an uplifting colour. Like you feel good working there in amongst it, because when you're inside it, you're totally surrounded by yellow walls. So you get this feeling you're like in a happy environment.
This one we finished today.
Yeah.
Finished today.
Okay.
This one here and that one there.
Yeah.
The two are already finished, so we need to put them on now.
So the guys arrived late last week, and although they'd done a lot of preparatory work, so a lot of painting and carving, now they've got to paint the logs, the posts for the house. We've already worked through the arrangement of all the panels that are going on the ceiling, so now that's up to us to get those onto the wall. Yeah, it definitely feels like a giant leap from visiting them in their community to bring them here, working with lots of modern materials and modern means. They're just taking it in their stride, which is great. I think they really love, they've loved their experience in Brisbane, and I think they love contemporary Western culture, and I think the idea of just working in this environment, they're really getting a kick out of it.
We've been here last few months ago, early this year, in February and March, 2 months, and now we are here again to complete our work. For 3 weeks we'll be here. When we put our culture here, to make people from here to know what does our culture means, so we can educate people here to understand who are we.
I come from Iran. I raised up in a dissident family. My parents used to be active opposition members for years, as far as I can remember. They were against Shah, and then after a while against Islamic Republic, which is ruling now. They have been campaigning for a long time for democracy and secularism in Iran. I left Iran at 91. My parents stayed there to just go forward with their campaign. They were killed 1998 in their home by agents of the Information Ministry, which is the secret service of Iran. This work, I think it is a lot about being an immigrant, coming from Iran and being an immigrant. It is actually about my mother tongue losing its function in everyday life, becoming a beautiful memory.
Fortunately, we've basically finished Big Yellow, and we've got the children's activity room that we're just doing some finishing touches to. And Richard was quite happy. He flew out and went back to New Zealand, and he showed us a few last-minute things that he wanted us to do. But I think he trusted us because we'd been working together for over a week, and yeah, he left happy, and we just kept ploughing on. This is the children's activity room, and as you can see, it's been themed similar to Richard's Big Yellow, and it's to help the children make something with their own hands out of cardboard in an environment similar to Big Yellow.
So at the moment we're in the foyer of the Gallery of Modern Art, which is where most visitors will enter APT7, and on our left we have the Abalam Corombo, which is the spirit house, and it's at the moment probably half finished, so it's really exciting. We can start to see exactly what it's going to look like with its thatch and the beginning of the bilas, or the ornamentation on the top. It's looking amazing.
Okay, good. Yambam bien. Big space here.
I think they were really, really pleased to see their work up, to actually see it in the space. And I think for them it was always very, very hard to visualise it on paper and even on the models. So to see it actually there and to know that it was occupying that wall and it was the first thing that you saw was pretty amazing for them. They're lapping it up. They make friends really, really quickly. So I was just talking to the guy that's been driving the crane for Waikua today, and he wants to take them on a barbecue down to his house at Redland Bay. So yeah, bonds are being made.
Everyone's really going for it. We're working long hours now, working days and nights and weekends, so everybody's really focused on getting through it. It feels like there's a lot still to do with only a week or so to go. But yeah, it's just head down and keep going.
So we're about 3 days away from opening, and there's a real buzz in the air. It's a really exciting feeling. I think the gallery, there's a real sense of we're doing this as a team. All the staff are excited, and we're so close now. Monday morning things are looking very different to the way that they were looking last week, and we know that we're going to make it. We think we're going to make it, and it's just really exciting, and there's a real buzz. So we're in Richard Malloy's Yellow or Blue, a Kids APT space, and this is one of 13 Kids APT projects here at the gallery. So when children come in, they'll actually be able to make some choices. They'll be able to come into this blue space or enter at the other end into the yellow space, and then there'll be a sort of cardboard collection point where they can either select blue cardboard and then make themselves a blue costume, or they can make themselves a yellow costume down the other end, and then they'll kind of perform in the space. Oh, this is looking good. Coming along well. Yeah. It's a bit of construction dust.
Some artists might not have ever thought to have made an artwork for children before, and others are immediately drawn to the idea. What we do is we look for artists whose work is interesting and appealing to us because we feel that children can really connect with contemporary art and the ideas in contemporary art. So what we find really interesting in contemporary art practice, we think that children will as well. We're very much about breaking down all of those old boundaries about the art museum being an elitist place. We're not interested in that at all. We want people coming here having real experiences, having fun in the art museum as well, and also learning something at the same time, learning about how contemporary artists might see the world in different ways, and how we can see the world differently, perhaps through their eyes.
I mean, I think art's role has changed. It used to be a very kind of elite kind of activity, I think, in a lot of ways. But more and more, art is really about everyday life, and it's about how we are in the world, our different experiences. And I think fundamentally, it's about how to see the world in a new way.
Everyone can contribute to contemporary art. I think that that's what makes this gallery so interesting with all our public programs and everything that's attached to the art, is that I think when people start to come here, they realise that they can actually be a part of it, and that's what makes it exciting. It is really about creating a sense of community, I think.
The last couple of days, we have been working to finish off a lot of the installations. Obviously, the install period's been going for a long time. Yeah, a lot of very quick sort of last minute negotiations, checking to make sure that everything's okay, and generally, yeah, getting the place looking spick and span. So at the moment we've got people running through, cleaning the place up, to look neat. We're all feeling very happy. First of all, that it's up. It's a great sense of relief, but actually really pleasantly surprised, more than we thought we'd be with the work. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but we're feeling pretty good about it.
Very relieved today that it's all it's up and running and everything's doing well. There's never a minute to spare when we're heading towards opening. So yeah, it's definitely been a long week, but very smooth today. So yeah, very happy.
Today I feel exhilarated, I feel excited, I feel completely at ease in many ways, because here we are, we've come at last and the exhibition is up. The Triennial has taken 3 years to make, and that has involved a number of our staff, our curatorial staff, our design staff, working with artists, travelling to the region, researching before coming back and making those final selections, commissioning. It's really an all-of-gallery undertaking at different stages, and in the last month and a half, when we've been actually installing the show, every single staff member has been involved. It's a completely vital experience for all of us. We're passionate about it, and it's magnificent to see it all up.
I think people will just be amazed, challenged, excited. I mean, we've just brought together so many exciting works. So many of the artists are here. They're really energised. I think it'll just be, hopefully, an incredibly inspirational experience.
When the audience comes through, I hope that they really get a sense of the amazing culture that is in Papua New Guinea and of the amazing diversity of the work that's made there and of its vibrancy.
In the past, we got many culture. It was hidden in the village, in PNG area. So this is the chance that we come out to Australia. It's good because we've got everything here now. So we're putting on all our artwork here. So we're promoting arts in here, our art. So we hope our art will be going out more and more throughout the world.
I'm actually looking forward to being surprised by the interpretations that people come up with, and I think that's the most pleasant thing. There's a lot of introduction that we can do, explaining about what work's about, the context that the artists are working in, but what's really fantastic is when the general public comes through and are able to articulate things and see things that we haven't actually sort of seen, and that's the really wonderful thing about having the exhibition open.
The 7th Asia Pacific Triennial of Contemporary Art has 75 artists and artist groups being shown across the whole of the Gallery of Modern Art and the Queensland Art Gallery. and they come from 27 different nations. It's really a very ambitious project for us. It's marking 20 years of the project for the gallery, and it's really a celebration. I also would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which this event takes place, and to welcome all of you to APT7. I think what really sets this project, and indeed this institution, apart is the unconventional and bold way we approach the interpretation and presentation of contemporary art, and the enthusiasm with which artists and the community actively participate in that adventure.
So we're now seeing the Richard Malloy project sort of activated for the first time, and there are kids in here, and it's just exciting to see they're really getting the concept. They're in there, they're kind of immersing themselves in the spaces, and they're performing, which is really what it's all about. They're making their own costumes and props, and then they're getting into the space and really making it all happen. It's just really exciting. It's exciting to see people, for a long time it's quite abstract, sort of working on the project, and then seeing it all come to life and seeing people in here enjoying themselves and having fun is just really rewarding and exciting.
Yeah, the concept is really about constructing and making things. So what I'm interested in is getting these guys to come in and make things out of cardboard and construct things almost like props or masks or things that they can kind of wear or perform with. Kids have the ability to be able to jump on board something and really get involved in that, and maybe not have the restrictions that an older person might carry about something. And so I think, kids definitely have the ability to draw their parents into coming to the gallery and experiencing art.
We are in Paramodel's room, their work for the Kids APT, which is this one that we can see with the railway tracks here. This is a work that's been evolving over the past 5 weeks from a completely empty gallery to something that looked a bit like a work site to what we've got right now, which is this rather extraordinary wall drawing, roof drawing, floor drawing made out of these terrific railway tracks, little mountains, animals, kids' toys.
The inspiration for my work, its origin, is feelings from childhood, playing when I was a kid, pure play, making something while playing. That's where my work comes from. It doesn't matter whether the kids who join our workshop become artists. I'm interested in the sort of things they'll produce 2 or 3 decades into the future. Without even realising it, my old man may have got that from things we did as a kid.
A lot of kids love bringing their adults with them, whether it be a parent or a friend or a grandparent. It's a space they sort of choose to come to and choose to bring their grown-ups to. We hear stories about kids having birthday parties where they're allowed to, or, for their special day, they can go anywhere they want to go and they choose the gallery because it's a space they really love to be.
You're going to do them out. You're going to do that. Okay, that looks good.
It was a long journey trying to understand what it would be and how to install it, but seeing it here now, it's spectacular. It's all worked out very well, so we're very happy, and the artist's very happy as well. He said yesterday that it was just how he imagined it to be, and that's what we want.
I think often people find it a bit daunting or a bit forbidding to come into a gallery space. They feel it doesn't belong to them or it's not their place, or if they didn't study art, they might not be able to understand. So our role is really to open those doors and really make people feel that there are connections to their own life. And it's an enormous honour for us at the gallery to presenting his work in Australia for the first time through this major commission here that you see above us, Resor. We provide a whole range of different activities, different bits of information. We have eye-tours that people can read on their iPhones. We have talks and performances. We have guides and all kinds of different approaches to really bringing people in. And it's just become such a successful approach. I mean, people really feel very at home and feel it's a place that they can be part of.
Just seeing the way that everybody comes together, the artists, the gallery staff, it's just been an amazing experience. And then to see it all up and everybody just feeling really proud.
One of the big surprises is the amount of people that are here and the amount of people that come to the gallery, and I think also that it's such a diverse range of people. So there's a lot of just general public that are just walking off the street, and there's like a real sense of curiosity that they have about exploring work and kind of getting to know it and understand it. I think maybe it's to do with the location of the gallery and also the design. It feels like it's almost it's part and parcel of like walking along the river. You just walk inside GOMA and you wander around and you look at what's happening and experience the art.
I hope that people come away from the APT with an experience of knowing more about the region, I think, and about their place within it. I think it's a show that really talks about who we are. So for me, it's really about communication, how artists feel about where they live and their aspirations and dreams. And I think that through artists we get a really wonderful view of the world, and we really need to keep that. It's really special.